This podcast is the sole property of Proud Sports. Our thoughts and opinions are our own.
Yeah. They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king.
What's up? Another opportunity to hang with me on a Proud Panthers podcast. I'm back here with you from teedoffsports.com and appreciate all those that continue to follow along with us here on the Proud Panthers podcast. It's crazy to think we just kind of got the ball rolling on this at the start of the season, really way back like summertime. And now here we are, end of regular season, getting set for me to start the Big South Conference tournament. It did begin earlier this week. We now know who our team's opponent will be in Gardner-Webb. So we'll probably talk a little bit about that game, maybe just some other general thoughts on the upcoming tournament. But I want to make sure that you know what we have coming up in a second. And that is some great guests. Rob Martin, Chase Johnson, both sat down with me from the team earlier this week. So we're going to share clips of that, as well as from assistant coach Martinez Rubicus, who joined us as well to give thoughts. And I'll preemptively say, if you're intrigued at that and you want the whole full clips of those or other exclusive content all throughout my time while I'm there in Johnson City covering our High Point team, then just go over to the site, teedoffsports.com. If you don't already have a membership there, you can just log in and get it. And some really cool stuff to try to share with you while I'm there. And if you're not able to be, then of course, I hope I got you covered. So we'll share more of what is ahead coming up after this.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Good stuff today on this Proud Panthers podcast. I worked a little overtime to get up with the team earlier this week as they were prepping a full week off ahead of this Big South Conference tournament. One of my general thoughts looking ahead is I just really hope that doesn't snake bite us in the end. I hope that we're able to have our sea legs at the start of game one against Gardner-Webb and not still trying to figure it out in the second half or maybe even beyond that. Now, if there's anybody potentially to try to figure that out against in this league, it would certainly be Gardner-Webb. But before I do most of my talking, I want to share some of those conversations I worked on earlier this week. We're going to start with assistant coach Martinez Rubicus, a guy who actually has been a part of the High Point program for as long, honestly, as Coach Clayman has been, but has been really working diligently behind the scenes. And sadly could kind of go unnoticed simply for the fact that I feel like Coach Clayman has done more than a stellar job putting this staff together. And I actually want to add, in addition to that Coach Rubicus, and then even as more recent as this week, I'm talking Coach Fletcher, both receiving this year some nominations for different awards. I can't recall off the top of my head what exactly they're called or for, but the point remains the same. If anybody that is an assistant or just on the staff, not named the head coach, is named for some type of honor, that speaks large volumes. So let's check in with Coach Rubicus, hear his thoughts on the upcoming Big South.
As an assistant coach, we look to a Big South Conference tournament now where it is 2-3 games in the same amount of days. And it's quick turnarounds, a lot of fast-paced stuff to learn and be fired at the team. Do you feel like the team is in a good spot and everybody's kind of, as you said already, taking it one day at a time to get ready?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Obviously, with, having a win streak, it's human nature to like maybe relax a little bit, slip up on some of the details. But again, we're real big every day on just, we have to get better. Like we got to tighten things up every single day. And I think that helps in that area. And then we also understand like what it is. Like there's 40 minutes on the clock, your seed doesn't matter. You don't get to start with a point lead or anything like that. Like it's just 40 minutes and anything can happen. And we know that. So I think we're just focused on the next opponent, the next game, and then, or honestly, getting a good night's rest tonight, having a great practice tomorrow morning before we head out.
So the team left earlier this week for Johnson City, trekked up, and I found out, just kind of an aside little tidbit, that all teams around the Big South tournament only have like 20 minutes for shoot around. That's probably in large part due to the number of teams that they're trying to juggle at this one site. But I gotta say, if you weren't already thinking that, okay, the tournament being out of the league's footprint, wonky, and the number of empty seats that you're going to see all throughout this tournament any other time that a team not named High Point is playing is janky. Well, now I'm here to tell you, you only get 20 minutes for a shoot around. That's probably going to take you longer to journey, to trek from hotel over to stadium, get off the bus, walk in, get dressed, get ready for the shoot around, than you'll actually end up having on the court. So yeah, getting a good rest, taking full advantage of the week at home, I hope is a big factor to it. And actually what I'll say is Chase Johnston, who also joined us here on the podcast earlier this week, really felt much the same about the practice time. I know that this next guy, Rob Martin,
I'm kind of a golf guy, and in golf, depending on who it is on the PGA Tour, some of those guys will watch a leaderboard. Some of them will just play their own game. Like, I don't want to know what's happening around me. So curious to know for you, do you try to watch a game like tonight between Upstate and Gardner-Webb and really focus in on who you're playing, or is it more like, nah, it doesn't really matter, we just got to take care of ourselves?
No, you definitely want to watch. It's March. Anybody could be beaten. Gardner-Webb been playing really well. Upstate been playing really well too. So just seeing what their weaknesses are, what they do well, and really just focus on what we need to do to execute the game plan and beat one of those two teams. So I feel like I watched last year. I watched a lot. Even this year, just watching games, seeing what the teams like what's the struggles they have and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna watch for sure just to learn. And then I like watching basketball.
So I don't want to even begin to think about beyond Johnson City.
Yeah.
My question more for you during this week of prep, do you feel like it's been helpful to have some time off and kind of be self-reflective, or is it better just stay in rhythm and try to, next game up?
I say I like this time so we can know what we can get better at. Like, if it's rebounding, taking care of the ball, executing plays, and really just putting new sets in what we need to get better at on the offensive end and defensive end. So I feel like this time is good for us to recover, take care of our body, but not relax. Still want to put the work in and practice and watch film and stuff like that. So I feel like this time is good for us, but I think we all ready to play on Friday.
I'll throw this at you again as a reminder. All full length of these interviews, you can find them over on the site, teedoffsports.com. And so we'll have them there for you. And this tease for that about the time where we sat down with Rob is he shared some interesting thoughts about what things could look like after this season for him. But also, like Rob, and like Rubes, we caught up with Chase Johnston, looking back on the regular season and also ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about what you have as far as your mindset getting set and ready for the upcoming Big South tourney?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously it's another opportunity to get to March Madness, which is, you dream about that as a little kid in the backyard. But my mindset right now, and something I've been in deep prayer about is just being a servant for the Lord, servant for my teammates, right? If I'm able to be a servant for the Lord, then I'm able to love my teammates in a way that it's insurmountable, right? It's an incomprehensible. So that's just my mindset. My number's called. If it's not called, how can I be a leader, this next week and obviously throughout this past season and moving forward? How can I just be there for my guys and whatever way they need me? And most importantly, hoping my prayer is in that they see the light of Jesus, through my life. So
can you put yourself back in that place a year ago in Johnson City, realizing that you're down 15 points, championship game, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, yet the team is able to pull through? Will that be good, applicable things that you can think of this coming weekend?
Yeah, I think going through that last year was huge. I mean, even in the semis against Radford, that was a nail biter. We could have dropped that one. So going through that and experiencing that, and coming out with a victory, you steal some nuggets from those two games and how you can be a leader, how you can be more vocal, not taking possessions off. But then also remembering, obviously last year in the championship game, our second team came in and won the championship. And if that happens again, how can I, or the other guys that were there last year, be even better teammates, right? Be even better servants for the guys that maybe have never gotten there, if that's what it's going to take. So
I don't think it's a mystery to anybody that throughout the course of the season, it hasn't played out the way that you've necessarily probably pre-planned for it to. I doubt that's the case for any of the guys on the roster necessarily. But I do know that you are somebody that you're able to stay in the moment. How do you do that?
It's just my faith, honestly. It's all the Lord. I can think of countless scriptures. I'm going through Genesis right now and just learning about the life of Jacob and learn, obviously Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, right, Isaac, but just seeing how they constantly just went back to the Lord when they went through trials. And a verse that really just sticks with me is Acts 20:24. It's my verse this year. It's my verse that I want it to be on my heart. It's the Apostle Paul just saying that he considers his life worth nothing and his only aim is to finish the race of preaching the gospel. And so that's just kind of how I stay grounded in deep prayer in God's word and just staying surrendered to him and letting him guide my life. It's not easy though. It's very hard.
You came in off the bench in a most recent regular season game where we were finishing off against Presbyterian. And in that time, I told Coach Clayman just the other day, you were essentially wearing a cape. You hit 4 or 5 3-pointers. We were backsliding at the time before you were able to propel us with a decent margin. You were ready, and that I think is an important thing to point out. As a shooter, is that hard to stay ready?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously shooters, they want to be in the game. They want to be in the rhythm, right? It's hard coming off the bench after you didn't play the whole first half and then majority half of the second half. You're stiff. Like that's just like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, no, I'm good. I was perfect coming off the bench. Like, no, it's hard. It's hard to get your body going. But, just like I said, I know I keep going back to the Lord, but just fix my eyes on him and letting him just guide it. So.
I let a lot of that roll there from that conversation, to which, again, you can hear the full thing over on our site, because as we look to the beginning of our conference tournament here, Chase is going to be a major factor in our success. I, without a doubt, recognize Chase, whether it is 4 or 5 3-pointers that he hit against Presbyterian in our last regular season game, or if it is just the leadership qualities. And you can hear there, I hope, in the way that he spent time with me talking, the way that he carries himself and who he is. The next few days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, will be a rifled off quick pace of games where, like I said, you don't have shoot around times. You're flocking in and out of hotels. Injuries can happen. There's going to be adversity without a doubt. I don't care if you're playing Gardner-Webb or you're playing, it doesn't matter, Radford, Winthrop. There's going to be something difficult that comes up, and we're going to need a steady voice in the room. And Chase here the past few days, without blowing up his spot and saying anything directly here, I know has been a big part of that preparation this week that the team had away. As we now know, we're facing Gardner-Webb. I know when I spent some of the time here with these guys, it was uncertain whether we would get Upstate or Gardner-Webb. My bracket for the Big South tournament, in some ways is already broken, but I still think the overall meat of it is left to come. And Gardner-Webb getting its second D1 win, second time they've beat Upstate, their fourth win from this season, just a couple of nights ago, can prove, I guess, that anybody this time of the year can survive and advance. And as a college basketball fan, I don't have to roll out the red carpet for you to get that. This is what we love. It's why we really enjoy what started now here for us as High Point fans, the conference tournament parts, all the way through the NCAA tournament. But I'm going to go back to what I shared on this very podcast the other two times our High Point team played Gardner-Webb this year. And that is to say that the team that we have, with the talent, with the staff already alluded to earlier, with the preparations, with everything that we've gone through and grown and learned from throughout this season, whether it be from Cam Fletcher or be Chase himself playing a different role than he expected. It could be back to where Vincent Brady had an injured hand. All these different things. We've grown and moved forward. And if you just go top down there, our High Point team has zero business losing to Gardner-Webb. There's no way, no how that it should ever happen. If we walk into the gym and we can't take care of business against this team, and that's also taken into consideration that you might have to get your sea legs on you a little bit and just get into a flow after being a week away. This would be the team to do that against. Could they get hot? I think so. Could somebody like Sims, their freshman guard, find a way to go off? Absolutely, from three. And all those little things are recipes to try to pull an upset. Officials, be very intrigued to see how that plays out throughout the full course of the weekend. But there's no real explanation for not coming away with a win. I don't care if it's by 1 point or if it's by, I think the spread right now is around 25.5 or 26 points. I don't really care which one it is, but you got to beat this team or else, I don't know. It's worse than just putting your tail between your legs, tucking it away and walking back to High Point. I mean, it would be bad. Worthy of breaking news across the sports landscape. So in order to ensure that doesn't happen, number one, but really for the whole weekend that there's a success, I think that Chase plays that role that I already alluded to. The other factor here, though, that I really hope our team carries is that Owen chip on a shoulder aggressiveness throughout the full course of the weekend, even if we go against some questionable officiating that tries to restrict and clamp down on that type of play. Defensively, forcing the turnovers, getting the deflections, the steals to fast break points. That has been our best recipe for success from opening night Furman game all the way through. And it needs to be carried out this weekend as well. Rebounding, hustle plays, the loose balls. If we can stop teams one and done and get out on the break to secondary break, then again, I don't think there's a team in this conference that could stand to compete. A big factor looking at the weekend ahead, in the event that we don't share another Proud Panthers podcast directly until after the championship, game on Monday, a big factor for how things probably roll is Logan Duncombe himself, his injury, whether or not he's ready and able to play. I think if they make the championship game, some way, somehow, he'll make a stand to try to get out there. Otherwise, I'm uncertain of that being the case, considering just a couple of days ago, he's rolling around on one of those carts and he's got his leg in a boot. Terry Anderson is going to be a big driving force for our team, as he always has. But if Cam and Braden and Conrad can really carry some serious loads themselves to add in to Rob doing his thing and Owen doing his as well, then again, that's another major factor. And I'll throw in even Scotty to that handful of guys there that could really contribute in a big way. And the last thing from just kind of the 50,000 foot view is going to be, I would say, how Yusuf and how Caden spell the times that they have to if we're in some type of foul trouble and if Owen, is on the sidelines for any one reason or another. I mean, that they're going to have to be able to give some type of minutes without causing us to, blow a tire, because it's going to force its way that way. And especially when you have 3 games in just the same number of days, I mean, everybody's going to have to pace themselves a little bit. So those are my big, viewpoints on the overall weekend. I don't think it's anything crazy new, honestly. And it shouldn't be, considering the type of 27-win season that we've had. But it could easily go sideways fast. Shouldn't on Friday, but from that time forward, it very well could. And I have full faith in this team and this staff to try to not let that happen as much as that could be in our control. Again, I share that, if you're interested in the full conversations that I had with Rob and that I had with Chase and Coach Rubicus, then definitely head over teedoffsports.com for that all throughout the full weekend, at Stephen Beck TO on X. We hope you'll get involved, interact with me there. We may even break out for this tournament some spaces together. Proud Spaces, do it live again. I don't know. We'll see what the weekend holds. Looking forward to having any and every High Point fan that can get to Johnson City there, and all those that can't. Hope you'll follow along with me. And we're looking forward to what I hope will be another championship winning weekend. Catch you on the next Proud Panthers podcast.